It all started when Jackson Aldrich was 9 years old and doing his usual favorite thing, playing soccer on his local soccer team. He then did a very unusual thing, especially for a 9-year-old.
So back in 2011, just before I turned 10 years old, I was in a 4 versus 4 soccer tournament, and we came across a team from the YMCA. And during that game, I noticed the team didn't have the proper shin guards, cleats, gear, etc. Basically, some of them were playing in tennis shoes, some didn't have matching socks, which is not usually allowed in soccer. So afterwards, I went up to the coach, respectfully, at 9 years old with my mother, and said, after every season, we have so much gear that we outgrow, and it's in fantastic condition that can be used again. Would you like it? And the coach, the eyes lit up and said, of course, I think that would be fantastic. And so from that moment onwards, that was the birth of an organization called Sport Share, which now collects and donates used sports gear to children in need. We have collection bins at high schools and summer camps and other stores, for example, A Runner's Mind. And so we will go there, we will take the equipment from the bin and go to usually my garage or one of the friends' garages who's helping. And we'll dump out all the gear, survey it, take a look, and immediately we will try and match the gear with other gear of the same sport. For example, all running shoes go with running shoes, soccer balls go with soccer balls, etc. From there, we will take the gear and clean it off and make sure it is of high enough quality, because these pieces of gear are going to be used by another child and another athlete. And the last thing we want is for them to receive a piece of gear that's unsafe or has a hole in it or is worn down. That's not the mission. We really want them to feel excited about what they're getting, almost like a new gift.
And is it really the case that there are kids out there who are not participating and they're not getting that simply because of lack of funding to buy the equipment?
Very much so. Unfortunately, that is a huge issue with a lot of sports. For example, just to buy a pair of soccer cleats can be anywhere from $70 to $250. For lacrosse, sticks can cost hundreds of dollars. Baseball bats alone can cost hundreds of dollars. A baseball glove, also hundreds of dollars. So not only do you have to pay the dues for the actual club team, even if that was waived, you still have to pay for the gear themselves because it's required, because you get checked before every game. They deserve to have, and basically really, and if they love the sport, they should be able to play it. I feel like having just a financial barrier is really sad and would be horrible if that was the one thing that prevented them from going out there and having fun and playing a sport that they really wanted. Imagine a kid comes after school and says, I really want to play on the soccer team just like my friend. And the parent says, sorry, we can't buy the cleats. I mean, that's devastating. And so I feel like being able to provide that is huge. And it's also not just the cost, is also how are they going to get to the practice. And if they don't have the gear, it's going to fall pretty low on the priority list compared to, food, housing. But I don't even think we're talking about that level. Even people who are well off, decently well off in this area, it's still extremely expensive to play some sports around here, and providing that availability and access is helpful. And I guess also on the other side, a person who might not have considered sports, because they have access to the gear for free, are able to make it part of their life. And so that's another side that expands and puts more people into what they want to do.
What do you think in this whole experience has surprised you the most?
I'd say honestly what surprised me the most is the need locally for help in sports gear. I know a lot of organizations and people try to look abroad or farther away, but one of the core missions is to donate the used sports gear to children in need locally. And I think that surprised me the most is that just literally around the corner, there are hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of students and athletes that need gear. And people wouldn't expect that, being in a bubble potentially in Silicon Valley and California. It's not all the same. Some people really do need the help, and I'm extremely glad that we were able to try and mitigate that issue. So one story that still resonates with me today is from the East Valley YMCA. And so one of the children playing basketball there looked like he was limping around. So the coach called him over, and when the coach looked down at his shoes, instead of seeing an injury, he saw 2 left shoes. And so immediately took the athlete over to the back, and they brought him out a fresh, actual, usable pair of basketball shoes, and that completely changed his idea of the sport. And I feel like sports themselves really provide a place to not only learn outside of the classroom, but also develop as a human being. I feel like from sports, it's in terms of like drastically improving me, my mindset mentality is although I'm not going to be a professional athlete, I feel like it's really positively changed me. I know not only do a lot of employers say this, but people in general say, we really love to have athletes part of our company or our group or organization because they have organizational skills and have time management skills and also learned how to deal with adversity. But it really pushes people to become resilient and great people on and off the field. And so it's really changed me in terms of who I am as a person today.